Hello again folks, and welcome to Black Bear Outdoors. Now we had a little bit of fun with our T97 and we were going to be cleaning it, so we thought we'd bring you along for the ride. So again, this is not a white glove clean. I'm wearing my blue gloves, but this is just to prevent fingerprints for the camera under these lights, and I'm going to be working with oil, so it's convenient to have, right? This is not a full disassembly. This is just a field strip and a clean. Like anything, there's more than one way to skin a cat. This is just how we do it. And a couple of housekeeping things. All the directions that we're going to be manipulating the firearm in has been cleared as safe. There's no ammunition around. The firearm has been cleared as well. And I am going to be pulling the trigger during this procedure. So if you've got a different way of doing it, fantastic. I pull the trigger, but I'll show you why. Okay, again, this is just how we do it with the products that we use. So let's get to it. So what are we going to need? First thing is our break-free CLP. We use this on all of our firearms. The CLP stands for Clean, Lube, and Protect, and it truly does that. The US military has been using this for decades very effectively on all their firearms, and they still work, so got to be something to it, right? Alright, then we're going to need a little cleaning rod like this. We prefer to use the little loop type usually, but ours broke, so we're going to be using the brush version this time, but you can use that too, right? Next thing you're going to need is this little polymer brush. This one's from an AR cleaning kit, but you can get these very, very cheaply on Amazon, and they won't damage anything because they're polymer brushes, right? After that, the next thing you're going to need is your bore snake. You don't have to use a bore snake, but we like using them. They're very convenient. This is a 22 caliber one, which is obviously going to be worked for the 223 as well. We got some cleaning patches. These are actually 9 mils that we cut in half, right? So they work really well that way. And last but not least, our cloth. So just before we start, guys, normally I do this barrel down. It's just easier to do that. But I'm going to do it sideways to try and show you on the camera, so forgive me if I struggle a little bit here and there. Alright, so let's get to it. So very similar to the Tavor, you'll notice that it has a little pin at the back here that you're going to pull out. Just be aware that this is under spring tension, so it's going to pop out on you. Normally, like I said to you before, I do this muzzle down, just much easier to control. I'm going to try and do it sideways to be able to show you guys. So push the pin out. There you go. And all the guts comes out. So this is your striker assembly and your recoil spring and the bolt. You see they're all right on these two little rails here at the back, if you can see that. The whole bolt comes out. Alright, so the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to take our cleaning rod and we're going to put a little patch on it, and we're going to give this patch a bit of CLP, and we're going to run this through the barrel. We'll push it through a couple of times, and that way we get the CLP to do its job, break down any carbon that could be in the barrel, and we'll set that guy aside for a little bit. So next we're going to be giving her some CLP in here, the trigger assembly there, and then we're going to grab our polymer brush and we're going to give it a bit of a scrub down. Alright, now we're going to put this guy aside for a little while we work on the other pieces, and that also gives the CLP some time to do its job. With the bolt, I'm going to give it a good squirt, and I'm going to give that a scrub down as well. Try and get rid of any carbon or, again, little brass shavings maybe. Oh, you can remove this little bolt head just by twisting it and pulling it out. Give it a bit of a scrub there. And I'm going to do the same with the striker assembly. Just around the edges here and where it rides. You can do your recoil spring if you like. I'm not too fussed about it. It's not really somewhere that a lot of carbon builds up. But yeah, so that's kind of what you want to do. Give it a good scrub down. And now we wait a few minutes for the CLP to do its job. Alright guys, now that the CLP has had a chance to do its job, we're going to go back to our barrel. This is where our bore snake comes in. Now again, you don't have to use a bore snake, but I like it. It's pretty convenient. It's got all kinds of bristles and polishers and all kinds of things on it. So instead of running a bunch of patches through, all you need to do, you'll see it's got a little weight there. You slide that down the barrel and feed it through until it pops out on the other side, right? There we go. And now you can just pull it through once or twice. Normally once would even do the trick, because this thing leaves a barrel very, very clean. There's some people who don't like them. They said they break off in the barrel. I've never had that issue with the Hoppies branded ones, the originals. Don't buy knockoffs. So yeah, that's going to leave us with a very clean barrel. Unfortunately, you can't see that on camera, but it looks like a mirror in there. Quite happy with the result. Okay, next we're going to be grabbing our cloth and we're going to be wiping down all these surfaces that we hit with the brush. Make sure we get all the excess CLP off of there. Won't do any harm, it's just so you're not running around with a too oily gun. Alright, and now for the innards, and we do the same. Wipe off all the excess CLP there. Make sure they're nice and clean, all the bits and bobs. It's my philosophy, if you take care of your guns, they'll take care of you. Might even put food on your table, you never know. Alright. So I'm just going to put this guy back like that, twist it, and push it back, right? Alright, so this is a personal preference of mine. It's not something that you have to do, but with semi-autos, I like to run the bolt a little bit wet, similar to an AR, for example. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to squirt some CLP on my finger here, and I'm going to give it a bit of a smear. Like I said, I like to run them a little bit wet. Seems to be working well for me so far. You might do it differently. Alright, so next we're going to put the bolt back. So just make sure you line up the bolt with those little rails at the back, and it'll slide right in. Next is the recoil spring. We'll put that in there. And here's where I pull the trigger. You'll see what I mean. So the striker assembly, if you got a different way of doing it, let me know. But here's the striker assembly. Make sure you put it inside the recoil spring there, and then it's going to go on these little rails as well. And you're going to need to keep a bit of pressure on it, because it's going to want to run off on you. So here's where I pull the trigger. You'll notice I won't go any further than that. If I depress the trigger though, it pushes it past, right? And I release the trigger. Alright, so again, this is something I normally do muzzle down, but I'm going to try and show you sideways, so this might be tricky, right? And you're going to notice it's going to, because it's laying on its side, it's pushing this pin up, and you won't be able to get it in fully. So I'm just going to pull this pin out and then line it up and then push that pin through. And there we go, it's assembled again, sideways, weird. Alright, I normally give it a wipe down on the outside as well. The CLP won't damage your finish as far as I'm aware. I've never had a finish damaged by it myself, so, but don't quote me on that. And that looks like a pretty clean firearm in my opinion. Alright, so let's do a quick function test. Again, all the directions are cleared safe. And we'll put the safety on. No trigger pull. Turn the safety off. Trigger goes. It resets. Perfect. There you go. Fully functional. Ready for your next range day. Alright folks, so if you enjoyed our video or learned something new, please give us a thumbs up, hit that subscribe button on the next page, gonna look like a black bear badge, and leave us a comment if you like. If you've got any questions about the firearm or the stuff that we use to clean it, please leave us a comment below, and if you missed our full review on this, we'll put a link up here for you as well. And yeah guys, you all stay safe and we'll see you next time.